We are in the moment with our energy, choosing the parallel realities we are shifting to. So with that being said, what will happen with this 3 to 5D Earth split is literally there are different realities overlaying for a while. We have the option. We could be in 3D or 5D. Do we want to buy into the fear? Do we want to react? Because with our energy, we are choosing our reality. Welcome back to another episode on the Daily Vortex podcast. I know it's a new name. I promise you that this is the name that it's going to stay now. The Daily Vortex. The vortex represents higher vibration, and the idea is that every day we're working to raise our vibration, and I am here to help you with creating content and sharing ideas that I think will expand your consciousness, but also put you through your own vortex of raising vibration. So the Daily Vortex is the name of the podcast. I know it's new, and I know it'll take a little bit of getting used to, but we can do this together. Let me know what you guys think of that name, by the way, the Daily Vortex. It's also funny because I just recently moved to Sedona, Arizona, and there's so many what people call energy vortexes there, which represents high vibration. And I realized that the main purpose of this podcast is to help people raise their vibration. And eventually, who knows, maybe I'll be doing daily podcast episodes. Maybe that's too much. Maybe that's just the right amount of time. You let me know. Let me know if that's something that you think you would like. However, this episode I just recorded, and it was one of the funnest ones I've done, and it is really sharing some very important things about what I believe will happen on December 21st, 2020 and beyond, the different energies at play, not just the astrology, but also the different sources that I really resonate with. One of them is Bashar, talking about the Law of One, which are some of the most profound channeled books, talking about Dolores Cannon books. There's over 17 or 19 books. Some odd number. I always forget the exact number. But they're very powerful books that have shown what is going to be happening as the energy moves ahead. I share with you some of my plant medicine journeys and what they've intuitively shown me about what's going to be happening. And this is one of the most important and powerful times to be alive than ever on the planet. And I'm so excited to be here with you. And raising vibration really is the name of the game. I do share some esoteric things when it comes to like ET information that I believe will eventually come out. It's a little more of an esoteric video. I share with you some traps that you do not want to fall into. There's literally, I believe, an energetic time split happening moving forward. I know that sounds out there, but you call it 3 to 5D Earth split. I'm not trying to put any fear into you guys. This isn't about fear, but the 3D reality is about fear, but it's about realizing our own energy and making the choice to where we invest our own energy. So raising our vibration now is more important than ever. And really quick, I want to share with you guys one of the most powerful things I've recently brought into my daily routine. And it's me realizing how important sleep is. Sleeping and being in high vibration are very powerfully linked. If you don't sleep deep at night or get a good amount of sleep, it's going to be very hard for you to be at optimal energy. Now realize this, when your energy is highest, you have the most magnetic energy. It is easier for you to manifest because you're in more alignment and you have more energy to put towards your passion. So your sleep is very important at night. Now, something that I used to do is I used to binge at night. I would drink like different like smoothies that had a lot of sugar in it. I would eat these desserts that were delicious, but I would then spike my insulin, spike my cravings, and then when I go to bed at night, I have all this food in my stomach, and I would have weird dreams. I'm not even kidding, and I wouldn't sleep as good. Now, one thing that I've recently brought into my routine, I've used it for a while, but more so recently now, is a chocolate drink that all you need is 1 scoop of this powder. You put it into either almond milk, cashew milk, whatever you use, milk alternative, water, and you mix it up and you drink it, and it is a delicious chocolate flavor. It's like hot chocolate in a way, and there's 10 superfoods in it that specifically help with rest and relaxation. It's 100% USDA certified organic. It just needs water or some milk alternative. It's low sugar, It's like less than 3 grams or less, so it's completely guilt-free. It is a healthy hot chocolate that tastes amazing, that gets out that you don't need to, if you have a sweet tooth at night, this is something that I use so I don't binge on other things. It promotes healthy relaxation. I fall asleep easier when I go to bed at night, and it helps me stay asleep longer. Now, if you look at the original average hot cocoa, it has about 200 calories, 6 grams of fat, 25 grams of sugar. Sugar is acidic, by the way, as well. And Organifi Gold chocolate has just 23 calories and less than 2 grams of fat and 1 gram of sugar. The superfood is packed with gently dried herbs and Ayurvedic roots such as ginger and turmeric. And it has a powerhouse mushroom, which is reishi. It does not spike your blood sugar levels. And it's got other ingredients that support rest, relaxation, recovery, and repair, and is very nutritious, and it is amazing. So this is something that I've been using every night before bed. Some days I forget to take it, but when I do take it, I have amazing sleep at night, and it's a way of me curbing my appetite as far as chocolate goes, and it is very delicious. The first time I ever had it, I was at my buddy Drew's house with my buddy Victor Otto. We both tried it. We drank it. The next night, we had to get up early in the morning to go to the gym, and we felt so well refreshed. We felt so amazing that from that point going forward, we were believers in it. So Organifi Gold Chocolate, you can get right now, specific for my audience, you get 15% off. All you got to do is go to Organifi, ORGANIFI.com/Aaron, AARON. And then type in the code at the top. You will get 15% off. Try Organifi Chocolate Gold. They also have Organifi Gold, which is a little bit different of a flavor, but the Chocolate Gold is my favorite. And they also have amazing protein, plant-based protein that digests very well because it's got enzymes in it. It's a complete protein. I use that every day. I use the Organifi greens as well. I mean, I'm really focusing on the Organifi Chocolate Gold on this episode, but they are the highest vibrational supplements that I found, and I use them in a very powerful way to raise my vibe to a completely new level, and I highly recommend that you use them too to keep your vibe high. And to check that out, all you do is go to Organifi.com/Aaron. You get 15% off specific for my audience, for you right now. So with that, also one other announcement I wanted to mention is I have a new phone number. And this phone number, you can get High Vibe Thought of the Days, recommended books. I'm about to send one out right now. It is you just text me. You just text me the word vibe at this number, and I will send you 2 or 3 times a week text messages with my top insights, messages of the day that I think they're like top insights and epiphanies that I've had, books, stuff like that. And to do that, you text me the word vibe to 424-304-0104. One more time. You could text me the word vibe at 424-304-0104. I love how many 4s are in this number, by the way. But this is my new number. This is where you can text me. You can text me questions, podcast ideas, stuff like that. I engage in there and respond as much as I can. And also, this is where I will send you the High Vibe Thought of the Day. Today, I'm sharing a book on there. It's a book called Awareness. I'll be sharing a quote from that book and be sharing, books that I'm reading, quotes from it, main takeaways, stuff like that. Just 2 or 3 times a week. You're not going to get crap load of messages, but it's a way of, getting that inside look at certain things. So with that being said, this episode is one of the funnest ones I've made. It's going deep on that idea of the concept of what I believe will happen. So without further ado, let's get into the rest of this episode right meow. December 21st, 2020. What will happen on that day? Now, in this video episode, what I wanted to do is to share with you my perspectives of the energy change that I believe will come with that of this time that we're on right now on the planet, and explain to you a little bit about what I think will happen from this moment going forward, because I think this is a huge transition point that we're going through right now on the planet. I'm sure many of you listening to this can feel it. There's something going on. We don't necessarily know exactly what that is, but we can feel the different energy. And even when I look out into what's going on in the world with the election and all of this stuff, I think what's happening is it's really shaking up what's happening, because there's a new energy here, and the new energy does not sustain what has been going on for a long time. The new energy does not sustain the level of control dynamic that has happened on the planet for a very long period of time. And that's one of the reasons why many of you may be going through your own shadow work right now, but also we collectively are going through shadow work. Literally, the light is being shined on the shadow. So things, agendas that for a long time, control agendas that were on the planet, that were keeping people in fear and in anger. When you talk about the media that is getting people to be in that fear and that anger, that has been something that has been happening for a long time, people are really starting to see through it. I know recently when I went to the holidays, I went to see I saw my grandma, who is very much someone that watches the news, and even someone like her has been questioning things. She's like 80 years old. She's like 78 or something. But it's shocking to me how many people do not trust what they are being told the way they used to 5 years ago. And even though there's a lot of craziness in the world that may continue, what's going to happen is that craziness is waking people up. People aren't buying into the old the way they used to. Now, first off, let me explain to you December 21st, 2020. There was December 21st, 2012. There were millions of people on the planet that were focused on ascension. And I was one of the people that went through my own awakening in earlier 2012. And when I was learning about this information, it was super compelling because there were so many people that believed that we were going to ascend into a higher level of consciousness on that date, and that everything would be completely new. It would almost be a completely different reality. And there were different components of this too. To be honest, I was someone that was very ungrounded at this point in my life. And December 21st, 2012, that year was a time where I went through a spiritual awakening. I started meditating. My whole entire life transformed. I went from feeling on a scale of 0 to 10, with 1 feeling horrible, 10 feeling amazing. I went from a solid 3. I would smoke weed, I would drink, and it would bring me up to a 5. And then when I didn't have those, it'd bring me back down to a 3. When I learned meditation, I went from a 3 to a solid 7 or 8 out of 10, and I felt high all the time. And I thought, is this feeling ever going to go away? Now, what happened is that became my natural set point. Now, it still adjusts. There's still times I have not the best days, and it might go down a little bit, but the base point has definitely raised. Now, I want to share with you guys something that just came into my mind. I do something every now and then called plant medicine. Plant medicine, you call it Aya. I go to Costa Rica to do it. And one of my first experiences ever, it was actually my third experience on it, because the place that I went in Costa Rica, you do it 4 nights in a row. You're at a week-long transformation spa. You do it 4 nights in a row, and every night's a different theme. Now, on the third night of doing it, it is considered the feminine night. The feminine night is when it, a lot of times, will spawn up a lot of emotion. It's very powerful normally. When I had 1 cup, because normally the way Aya works is you normally will take a cup, and then a couple hours later they'll serve a second cup. I took 1 cup, and I started to feel so much energy. And I remember this is what happened, because I got a message about this right here, right now. This is what happened. I took that cup, and the night before, let me kind of paint the picture a little bit. The night before, I took like 4 cups and didn't really feel much. That was the masculine night. I remember I was with my buddy Victor Otto. We went outside. We were talking. I'm not supposed to really talk on it. We were outside talking on it. We got in trouble from the shaman. They came over and said, "You guys need to be quiet. You guys are talking too loud." And we were talking, and it was like the funnest conversation we ever had, and it wasn't a really deep, because normally you're in your own world. You're going within. Something we probably shouldn't have been doing. But anyways, because we didn't really feel it on Tuesday night, on Wednesday night, we're like, okay, we got a little cocky. And a lot of times when you get cocky on plant medicine, it'll show you a lesson. So what happened is I took it, was feeling kind of cocky, and I was like, let's see if I feel anything. I took 4 cups last night. I probably won't feel anything. I take it. I go lay down, and about 20, 30 minutes later, the effects start coming on. And what happened was, I felt so much unconditional love inside of my heart. I started to feel this buzz inside of my heart. And I started to feel this unconditional love. And to be honest, it was so powerful that it scared me. I literally was like, what do I do with this energy? And the message that I got in that moment is I felt like it was healing my heart. I was like letting go of some traumatic energy from my past, from having the abusive ex-stepmom thing. And I felt like I was healing that energy, that trauma, what people call the heart wall. And I was feeling this unconditional love inside of my body. And the message I got was, hey, Aaron, you know that scale that you always talk about, how you felt from a 3 out of 10 and you went to a 7 out of 10? You know that scale? Yeah, well, you thought that scale was out of 10. Here's a 15 out of 10. Here's an 18 out of 10. Here's a 20 out of 10. And here I am feeling this energy, and it's scaring me because I felt like I just remember thinking to myself, just let go. Just let go. That's pretty much every plant medicine ceremony you'll ever go to. One of the main things you'll take away is like, let go. Just let go. And I was letting go. And as I was letting go, I was feeling this blissful energy, but it was still a little bit scary. And the message I got was that in the future, what we're talking about right now, there'll be a new energy on the planet. And this new energy will be to where you have the potential to feel this energy all of the time. However, because I was so impatient, I was like, I want it now. I remember thinking, like, I want us all to ascend to a higher level of vibration now. And what I was told was, your body could not handle it then. Your body literally thought it was getting scared because it was too much energy. As we move forward and as we get closer to this and as we move forward, this energy is going to begin to grow on the planet. That was the message I got. And I felt it, and I still to this day feel it to be true. And as time has gone on, my vibration has continued to raise, and I feel this energy. And now, it's a little bit easier to hold this energy. And it's literally meant to be a blissful, fast-paced energy. So what do I believe will happen? I believe a part of the components of December 21st, 2020 and beyond is what we believed was going to happen back in 2012, December 21st. The moving into a new area of energy. I believe we did in a way move into a new era of energy, but the big dramatic change that we've been looking for since 2012 is actually 2020, December 21st. A new energy will begin to grow from now until that point and beyond. And that energy is the energy of that unconditional love. It is that energy that we feel inside of our heart that we may feel like we may have to integrate. And that scale of literally 1 to 10, I'm at a 7 or an 8, I'll have the ability and you'll have the ability to feel like a 15 out of 10. And then we'll extend our scale. It'll go out of 20 or 30, and we'll continue to raise our vibration. And in this higher vibration, it brings shit up to the surface. That's the thing. We actually have a higher vibration on the planet now than we did back in the day. Even though we look around and we see all this scary stuff happening, we see all this shadow work that's being brought to the surface, even though we see all of this, guess what? This is all a side effect of the vibration continuing to raise. When the vibration raises, it brings stuff up to the surface. You know, more and more information is coming out where we are becoming more readily of the awareness that ETs exist. Look at this article right here that came when the Israeli space head said that, first off, he also said that Trump knew about the ETs. And I think, December 21st, 2020, I think around this time, there could be some new revelations around ETs. It's already happening. New York Times posted this article. This article on that of the spacehead from Israel saying that the Galactic Federation wants to make contact with us but is waiting for us. You want to know why? Because they don't want to interfere with our process of awakening, our process of remembering who we are. Also, this is something else that Bashar has talked about. Many of you know I love I'm a big, I listen to Bashar, channeled by Daryl Anka, kind of like an Abraham Hicks time thing. It's a little esoteric, I know. But for 30 years, the information has been very consistent, and I'm somebody that really resonates with it. Now, one thing that Bashar has said is one of the reasons ETs don't make contact with us tomorrow is because until our energy is integrated, until we raise our vibration, if we were to be in the energy field of a being that is higher dimensional, that has a very high frequency, what would happen is not what we think. Because they're in such a high frequency, as we walked up to them, their energy would be so high that it would bring everything that was not already integrated inside of our body, it would bring it up to the surface for us to immediately deal with. And if we were unaware that that's what was happening, we would then feel the fear that would come up that's unprocessed within ourselves, and we would think it was them making us feel that way, when really it's their energy field that is bringing that stuff within us. So that's another reason the Galactic Federation, our star brothers and sisters that we're connected to, by the way. I know this probably sounds pretty out there, but I believe that us as humans, that we, in a way, have genetic material of many different star races. So we say, oh, we're human. This is, we're in a little petri dish, where we are a mix of many different extraterrestrial races in itself. So these star brothers and sisters are actually brothers and sisters of ours, but we've forgotten that. So we see them as separate, and we're afraid of them, and we project all of our own insecurities onto them. So it's interesting. But December 21st, 2020, I believe moving forward, there'll be more and more information about that. I believe that Trump, whatever happens with Trump and whatever happens with this election, I believe it's going to stir stuff up. I was watching this astrology thing. I don't watch astrology all the time, but I think it's very interesting. The astrology of this time as well shows that things are going to continue to get shaken up. And this astrologer was looking at Donald Trump's astrology, and he, from what she says, isn't going anywhere the way that we think he is. Maybe he's not the next president. Maybe there is no president. Who knows what the hell's going to happen? But basically, I think what could happen is, because he's very sporadic, he may actually say something and reveal something that is very shocking. And maybe it has to do with the ET stuff. Maybe not. But regardless, I think there will be major twists and turns as the new energy moving forward through this day and past this date. So December 21st, when I was talking about that analogy of the energy as a scale of 0 to 10, with 1 feeling not great, 10 feeling amazing, 7 out of 10, guess what? I believe there will be notches that are put up a couple notches. Literally, like the volumes being turned up, and more of that high vibrational energy is coming onto the planet, and we have the ability to tap into it, to feel it. And the side effect of that is going to be time is going to speed up. Things will speed up. Movement will speed up. Right now in my life, my whole entire life is changing. I've been living in Vegas at this house for the last year. Recently got a house in Sedona. I'm in the process of closing on that house, transitioning into that house, which I'm so excited about. I believe that's just a natural progression. And there's a whole nother level of my business and everything that I'm doing, even this podcast. I'm focused on this podcast more than ever. I've been making podcast episodes every single day. I've been thinking about making podcast episodes daily, called the Daily Vortex. Vortex representing high vibrational energy. Daily episodes. I've been thinking of that. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. Daily podcast episodes, kind of like a news episode like this right now, me talking about some of the current events and things happening. But let me know. That's something I'm thinking of. But I'm moving into this new energy, and things are speeding up. Whole 2020 for me was a big year of shadow work, healing the feminine and masculine wounds within myself, healing and becoming aware of patterns that I was falling into. And moving forward, it is a new era. And it is very exciting. So, that new energy is also going to be very important to be in extreme integrity. Now, integrity meaning, are you in alignment with your own authenticity? Are you doing what you are passionate about? I no longer do things or make my business decisions based on what I think will make the most money. I do things based on what I'm the most excited about. I'm not excited about making the old school YouTube videos that I've made over 1,500 of. I'm excited about making podcast episodes. So what I do is I make these podcast episodes, I'll put it on my main channel in little clips, because I'm no longer really worried about the algorithm and the things I used to worry about, because I know it's more about alignment now. It's really about being in integrity with your own energy. So December 21st, 2020, the other aspect this I wanted to talk about was back in 2012, many people believed we were going to shift into a higher level of consciousness, including myself, you know what's funny? My buddy Victor Otto as well. I didn't even know him in 2012. We both felt the same thing back in 2012, and we made some very dramatic life transitions, and I believe that for both of us, we'd both admit, it was very ungrounded. I was very ungrounded when I went through my awakening. I was like just wanting to meditate all the time. I was like, I don't want a 3D job. I went into Nordstrom's. I worked there for 5 years, went in one day and said, you know what? I quit. I don't like this. I don't want to, it's getting in the way of my meditations. And I was very ungrounded. I learned so much from that situation. I really learned a lot. I've really come a long way since 2012. I'll tell you that. I was resistant of the 3D. I believe there's a 3D, 5D Earth split that is happening, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But the way that I used to relate to it back in 2012 is I was like, the 3D with the news and the negativity of the media being controlled and all this craziness happening in the world, and this is something I don't really want to be a part of, so I was like, I'm going to quit my job, and my point is I'm going to escape. That's kind of what I did. 2012, I tried to escape. And I just meditated. Luckily, I lived with my mom at the time, and she was cool. She let me do that, and I just meditated and did sun gazing, did all these like very spiritual things. And then after, I remember, 6 months of being ungrounded, believing on December 21st, 2012, something amazing was going to happen. And then it came and went, and then I was like, well, maybe I need to go back into the 3D world. And what I did is I was very resistant. I had something called a kinesiology test. This like 80-year-old woman did this kinesiology stuff that was highly recommended to me. And I was asking her questions, and she would use her body. It's using the muscle testing to get yes or no answers from our subconscious mind. But also sometimes you can ask questions related to spirit or spiritual questions. So I was like, after she said all of this profound stuff, she talked about this heart wall that I developed back in an ex relationship when I was younger. All of this stuff, I was like, wow, she's dead on with this. Then I said, well, does spirit want me to get a job? And she said, yes. And I said, shit. And I said, can you ask the question again? Does spirit want me to get a job? And I asked it in like 4 different ways. And she goes, yes, yes, yes. And I'm like, maybe she was right about this other stuff, but maybe this thing she's wrong about. And then what happened is basically it was like, it reminds me of that Step Brothers. There's like a scene in Step Brothers. It was like, God dang it, bring it, just get a freaking job or something like that. Like, it's kind of like that energy. Eventually Spirit was like, Aaron, just get the freaking job. Stop meditating with your crystals. Stop sun gazing, watering your plants with love. You can still do that, but now go get a job. So I got a 3D job. I applied at Barney's, New York, got the job the next day. I've only had really 2 jobs in my life. I worked at Nordstrom's for 5 years. I worked at Barney's, New York for 4 years. And then I quit and I did YouTube, and now that's what I do. Not just YouTube, but, this whole thing. But I was very ungrounded, but I remember December 21st, 2020, thought it was going to be this amazing ascension, but apparently the astrology, everything that I thought was going to happen then is supposed to happen now, but I am more grounded now. I also have Taurus in my chart. Taurus is very grounded. It's very earth. Thank God for my Taurus, by the way, in my astrology. When I was studying astrology, this is a little side tangent. The astrology year December 21st, 2020 is about new energy. It is a very time of fast-moving twists and turns in the collective consciousness. I think a lot's going to change. Now, I'm not a huge astrology head. I don't understand a lot about it, but my sun is in Sagittarius. My moon is in Gemini, and my ascendant is in Taurus. And I used to always not like the Taurus because I was like, Taurus, like I dated a Taurus ex-girlfriend and we didn't really vibe that well. I was like, oh, it's like an opposite of me. But Taurus is very much about, being grounded, likes consistency, is an earth sign. Gemini, which is my moon, my emotions, is very quick-paced, moving, change, I have a lot of Gemini, and then Sagittarius obviously is very like extroverted and vast perspective, traveling. I could see how these all fit into me, but I used to always reject the Taurus. But now I've learned to appreciate the Taurus because the reason you might like my YouTube videos is because I may look different than some of the other spiritual teachers, like the spiritual, whatever you call it, like people that teach these ideas, because I talk a lot more about practicality. Even though I am esoteric, I love the esoteric stuff. It's a big part of myself and who I am. I also like the practicality of things. What can we actually do with this? Grounded in the material realm. I like nice things. I live in a nice house. I love, love, love food. I love food. I sit there sometimes on my computer, on my FitnessPal, and kind of do this like crazy calculations as to what I can eat for the day because I love food so much. I literally plug in different things. I'm like, okay, it equals, because I count my calories. I know that sounds kind of rigid for some people. Remember, I like kind of the material a little bit, Nothing wrong with that. But in the same way, now I'm grounded and I'm not going to like, December 21st, 2020, we're going to ascend and we're going to be in 5D and we're going to be these wisps of light. And by the way, back in December 21st, 2012, I was like telling family and friends about this and they all thought I was crazy. Felt very alone, actually. I remember telling my mom. My mom actually came on board and then started to really be about it, and she went through her own awakening. It was very cool. But like my dad thought I went nuts. A lot of friends thought I went nuts, but it was because I was so ungrounded. And they're like, well, so what? You're just going to become these wisps of light? I just remember them saying that. Now, is this year we're going to become wisps of light? It's going to be more of an energetic thing that's going to completely transform our life, I believe. Now, let's look at some of the sources to why I believe this. First off, my own internal meditative state of oneness and connection. I feel like it's a very powerful energy movement. But dates, sometimes we like December 20. We love dates. The way the energies work is astrology-wise, it's an energy thing that begins to build and crescendo and even after this date. But a big transition and change, I believe that literally will feel like we're in a new reality. Energetically. Now, here's some of the other sources I want to talk about. So first off, what does Bashar say? I want to talk about what Bashar says, what Dolores Cannon says, the Law of One says. Kind of summarize that. Oh, there's a trap that I do not want you guys to fall into, by the way. This is important. I'll talk about that in a minute. But let's talk about Dolores Cannon first. Dolores Cannon, she was a hypnotherapist that passed away a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago. And she has 17 to 19 books out that are transcripts of thousands of different people that were in a very deep level of hypnosis. Their subconscious mind would come through, and she could ask questions like, why did you incarnate at this time? What is the purpose of your life? What is your relationship with this person? Questions like that. And through thousands of different transcripts, she got very consistent information. These people were in the deep level of hypnosis. They did not know the other people, by the way. So it's not like they all, thousands of people got together and said, let's just screw with her and say this weird stuff. No. All over the world, she would do these hypnosis sessions, and there were some consistencies that people said. Many consistencies. One thing was a lot of people talked about how there was this big shift in consciousness that was going to happen. That they came here to be a part of the shift. They came here to be a part of this transition into a higher level of consciousness. That back in the 1930s, there was an energetic call that was put out from Mother Gaia because there were humans that were experimenting with nuclear bombs that were on a timeline that were literally going to destroy themselves. So Mother Gaia, Mother Earth, put out this call, and what happened is when that call was put out, people and souls like us heard that call, and we decided to come because the way that we change this reality is we change it from the inside out. Aliens, ETs, that we're also connected to, by the way. We have a higher self that is connected to many different parallel incarnations of us at different levels of consciousness. We don't have just incarnated on Earth. We've incarnated in many different reality spheres, you could say, different parts of the universe. Because this one's like 3 to 5D, right? We're in like 3, 4D, whatever we call it. There's different dimensional states of consciousness that we exist at because we're energy that cannot be created nor destroyed. We've always existed. We have not just incarnated our energy on this little planet. Now, because of that, we heard the call and we decided to come and we wanted to help. But the way we help is we don't land and give technology to people. The way we help is we have to play according to the rules. The rules of this reality are and include free will. Meaning, when you're born, you forget who you are so you can then remember who you are. And that's part of the game of this reality. And Bashar talks about this. The Law of One talks about this. It's like a law of forgetfulness. We forget who we are to remember who we are. Dolores Cannon talks about this. Many different hypnotherapist processes talk about this. But we've forgotten who we are to remember who we are. Now, one of the other things that Dolores talked about, or Dolores didn't really talk about it, she was just asking questions, her patients talked about, was that in this time in life, we are going to have this transition of what is called the 3D to 5D Earth split. This is what she talked about. 3D represents the news, the media, the control, the having to do this, the having to do that. This chaos of the old falling away represents the 3D reality. And then we have 4 and 5D reality. And there's a debate sometimes, 4D is time, 5D is this. But in general, think of it like 3D is the news, the media, the craziness happening, the old systems falling apart. The 5D is more of that, what I was talking about when I said the 15 out of 10, the feeling of unconditional love. It is you doing what you're passionate about. It is extreme synchronicity, being at the right place at the right time. It is when you begin to just meet your soul family pretty much everywhere you go. Now, this is what was talked about in Dolores Cannon books, and this is the time we are in right now. Now, not only that, let's move a little bit over to Bashar. Bashar has said that what will happen is we're in a way, there's many different train tracks that exist. And what is happening is as time goes on, these train tracks are splitting further and further apart. And that the idea is to get on the train track that you want to be, because as time goes on, it's going to be harder and harder to jump these train tracks. Now, what also was said from both Dolores Cannon and Bashar is that there's many different parallel realities that exist. There's many different parallel realities that exist. Jane Roberts, this is talked about in the Jane Roberts, the Seth materials. There's many different parallel realities that exist. And we are in the moment with our energy choosing the parallel realities we are shifting to. So with that being said, what will happen with this 3 to 5D Earth split is literally there are different realities overlaying for a while. We have the option. We could be in 3D or 5D. Do we want to buy into the fear? Do we want to react? Because with our energy, we are choosing our reality. And when in Dolores Cannon's material, she talks about how for a period of time, there will be a 3 to 5D Earth split, and we can go back and forth between these energies, between these 3 to 5D. But eventually, they will separate. These parallel realities will eventually begin to separate more and more. So right now, what we are in the middle of is a 3 to 5D Earth split where there's craziness happening on the world. You can choose to buy into it. You can choose to be in fear. You can choose to believe that we're victims of everything. Or you can realize that you get to choose where you put your energy. Things in my life have been better than ever. Yes, I look out into the world and I see the suffering. I want to help, and I want to help more people wake up, and there's a desire and a drive there. But my life is very fast-paced moving and on an upward ascent. And that's because that's where I choose to put my energy. I'm not buying into the media. I'm not buying into all this stuff. You can choose where you put your energy. So what was also said was the way that Bashar talks about it is there is what is called the glass wall. Think of it, 3 to 5D, like Dolores Cannon talks about. Imagine there's a glass wall in between 3 to 5D. And now what happens is you can look through that glass wall and observe the craziness happening in the world. You can observe the forced this and that and the hysteria and go back, unlock. You can observe all of this, but you can choose not to be in it. It's like looking through a glass wall. Now, as time goes on, These realities will split more and more. And one of the questions a lot of people asked with the Dolores Cannon material was, well, what if I'm so noble and I want to be in 5D but then go back to 3D just to help everybody? That's what I want to do. What will eventually happen is because of the vibration, things will consider to put us on a more timeline that is in resonance with our energy. And a lot of people ask Dolores this because she would talk about her sessions, and people are like, well, I just want to help. Even if the 3D reality goes down, I just want to help. She said it's not the way it works. Because of vibrational resonance, you will be on the reality you are meant to be on. And here's the thing. This is an energy that we're talking about here. Now, what will happen is old people may begin to fall out of your life, and soul family will be brought into your life. Think about that. As time goes on, you will find yourself more and more in resonance with people that resonate with you. And one of the questions people would ask Dolores is, well, how do these people just fall out of your life? Well, what's going to happen is you're in the 5D energy, and it's almost like you just start to forget about certain people. It even talks about this in the books. It's almost like you forget to call somebody, and then eventually they kind of, you just don't find yourself thinking about them as much. Now, this isn't to be feared. It's not like you're going to forget you have a dog one day, you're forgetting about your grandma or something like that. It's not like that. It's more so about just an energy resonance. Well, as time goes on, it's going to be more and more important for you to be in a certain energy state, and you'll just find yourself naturally not gravitating to old energies as much if they don't resonate. Now, people will have the ability to transform and to integrate, and then maybe they come along for the process. But the 5D energy is about you being in your passion, you doing what you love, you neutralizing and observing your thoughts, you meditating, you raising your own vibration. As you did that in a work, you're going to be more into 5D. Now, the harvest from the Law of One, let's talk about that for a minute. The Law of One talks about what is called the harvest. This was some of the most profound channeled material of all time, by the way. A physicist was the husband asking the questions, and it talks a lot about some stuff in science that was eventually shown to be true, and this was back in the 80s before they knew about a lot of the stuff that we know about now, but it's been confirmed. Even stuff with astronomy and stuff like that we didn't really have the awareness of at the time. So one thing that was mentioned is that there is what is called the harvest on the planet going on right now. This harvest is where, in a way, there's seeds that are being planted to where we have the ability to move into a higher level of consciousness. What they talk about is the third density. Third density is the old power dynamic of duality, good, bad, light, dark. And what we're moving into is from third density, which is different than dimension from what I understand, third density into fourth density. Fourth density, things are more about vibration. Things are more flexible. Life becomes more like a dream. Things are more about energy. That's what we're moving into. That's what we're in right now is a fourth density reality, whether we're aware of it or not. But the third density is falling away. The old power dynamics are falling away. And that's what we're moving towards. Now, in the Law of One material, they state that we must be a 51% service to others rather than service to self. Now, the old 3D reality, it's service to self. Even when you look at the negative agenda on the planet to keep people in fear, that's a service to self agenda. It doesn't sustain itself anymore. I believe that this war on consciousness, I believe we've already energetically won, but there's still work to do. Now, 51% service to others. If you're watching this right now, then my guess is that it includes you. You probably have a desire to help other people wake up to more of who they are. You probably feel you're someone that's meant to be a coach, a healer, somebody that's meant to be doing what you're passionate about, somebody that is like a beacon, and many other people in your life kind of look to you in certain ways because you've been through a spiritual awakening. You've gone through the internal pressure. But now, so many people on the planet have the ability to go through that same pressure. And that's the harvest. It's happening right now on the planet. And the key is realizing and really living in your own authenticity, doing what you're passionate about. And the key to this is realizing that if you don't do that, you're going to be a part of an old system doing what you're not passionate about, and it'll feel very forced. The energy does not sustain that anymore. I feel like I should mention now as well, if you guys didn't know, that my buddy Victor Otto and I, we both have been doing this YouTube and creating our content online and helping people and coaching people. We've been doing that for 3 or 4 years now, and we've helped hundreds of people do the same thing in something that is called full-time purpose. Full-time purpose will help you go full-time doing what you love, whether you're an artist, you're a content creator, you're a podcaster, you're a coach, healer, anything. If you want to make abundance online through that of the internet and have some gift or something you could share with the world, but you don't know how to do that, we show you how to do that if you go to fulltimepurpose.com. Also click the link in the description box, fulltimepurpose.com. Check that out. There's a training there that shows you step-by-step exactly what to do, and then we can coach you and we can help you do that in a short period of time. It's not as hard as you think. You don't need thousands of followers. You just need a system and a strategy. But anyways, I just wanted to share that because this is an important time on the planet, I think, to move ahead with the energy of our passion. That's the energy that sustains us. Now, those are the different things that I believe are happening, and I think that moving forward, there will be dynamic energy changing that happens from December 21st onwards. This is a symbol, an energetic symbol that represents a big time of change on the planet. Now, the one trap I do not want you to fall into is being aware of conspiracy theories. I understand how interesting they are. I believe some of them are true. Maybe not all of them, but some of them are true. Say not all because there's some people that believe some very out there things. And I think, once again, though, we're creating our own reality. So maybe that's true for them. But there's a trap that I see some people fall into. Oh my gosh, this is happening. Oh, we need to do this. We need to protect ourselves. And we put out all this fear energy. And I think that part of the agenda is that when people are so bought into it and so angry about it, that then they become about that energy timeline in a way. So yes, be aware of it, but choose where you put your energy. I understand how intriguing and mental candy some of it is, but I remember in the beginning of the year, I was studying as I was seeing all this stuff happen and starting to feel that there's something else going on other than what we're being shown. I started studying it, and I became aware of, I believe some of this is true. However, I then realized my dreams started to go a little bit darker. I had lower energy levels. It was dampening my vibration, and I wasn't able to make higher quality videos. I was going down a rabbit hole. Maybe that's some people's passion. Nothing wrong with it. But be aware of how it affects your energy. Don't fall into that trap, because that trap may be putting you more into the fear of the 3D. There's really the two camps of fear and love. And realize that when you meditate, you're observing your thoughts. You're not as reactive. And the key to this is being aware of that. So if you like this video, could you do me a favor? Could you smash that like button? And also, can you subscribe to the podcast? You have the on iTunes and Spotify link below. I do episodes every week. And if you're on the podcast, I also be posting the videos, versions of this on my main YouTube channel. And twice a week, if you want me to do more, let me know. Comment below, what do you think is going to happen on December 21st? Let me know. Any astrology things that are cool. I know a lot of you might be astrologers or be in astrology. Let me know. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, much love, and namaste.